The Disappearance of Kate. A chilling true crime mystery.
Good evening and welcome to a gripping episode that will take you deep into the heart of a true crime mystery. Tonight, we uncover the haunting case of Kate, a young woman whose sudden disappearance has left Poland baffled for over 2 decades. This story is filled with secrets, twists, and unanswered questions. It's a tale where the truth seems just out of reach, yet hidden in plain sight. What happened to Kate? Was this a perfect crime or an imperfect investigation? Tonight, we'll explore this case from the beginning, peeling back the layers of deception and follow the disturbing events leading up to her vanishing on that fateful night in June 2000.
The early 1990s in Poland was a time of change and new beginnings, and Pisz, a small town in the Warmian-Masurian region, embodied this era's quiet resilience. At first glance, it seemed picturesque and untouched, surrounded by dense woods and cobblestone paths. This peaceful town was known for its close-knit community, where everyone knew each other's stories and secrets. It was a place where tradition lingered and change crept in slowly, almost reluctantly. Kate grew up in this town. She was 18 years old, full of life, with dark hair and blue eyes that sparkled with energy. Her life seemed ideal. She had a loving family and had just met the love of her life, Mark. Mark was charming, handsome, and came from a wealthy family that owned a successful meat business. To Kate, he was her prince, the kind of man every young woman dreams of. They quickly fell in love, becoming inseparable. Just 2 years later, at the tender age of 20, Kate married Mark in a beautiful summer wedding. The young couple was showered with gifts. Mark's father bought them a spacious 2-story apartment, and Kate's mother financed the interior decorations. They were set up for a life of comfort and success, managing a family-owned meat shop and living a seemingly perfect life. For a few years, everything seemed perfect. The couple had a wonderful child, Evelyn, and Kate became a dedicated mother. But soon, the pressure of family expectations began to weigh heavily on Kate. Mark's father was controlling, dictating their every move. Mark, in turn, obeyed his father without question, leaving Kate feeling isolated and frustrated. She longed for independence and decided to return to school to complete her high school diploma. This decision was met with disapproval from Mark and his domineering father. They believed Kate's place was at home, taking care of the children. But Kate was determined. She enrolled in evening classes, hoping to build a better future for herself. During her evening classes, Kate met Thomas, a quiet man burdened by grief after losing his fiancée in a tragic car accident. They bonded over shared struggles, exchanging honest conversations about life's challenges. Kate confided in Thomas about her frustrations at home, while Thomas found solace in her understanding presence. Their friendship remained innocent, marked by occasional walks and light-hearted discussions. But when Kate casually mentioned Thomas to Mark, it ignited a spark of jealousy. Mark's questions became pointed, his tone sharp with suspicion. Though Kate assured him there was nothing more to it, the connection with Thomas had planted a seed of doubt in Mark's mind, further straining their already fragile marriage. By the year 2000, the cracks in Kate and Mark's marriage had become deep chasms. A financial crisis hit their business. Sanitary inspections found severe violations at their meat shop, forcing it to close. Overnight, they lost their income, and the strain of financial hardship pushed their marriage to the brink. Kate had had enough. She demanded they move away from Mark's father's influence, proposing they relocate to Silesia Voivodeship, where she had family. Mark refused, leading to explosive arguments. By May, Kate made a bold move. She filed for divorce, requesting a fair division of their assets. Despite Mark's growing anger and resistance, the first divorce hearing was scheduled for June 12, 2000. For Kate, it marked a small yet significant step toward reclaiming her life. She felt a faint glimmer of hope, imagining a future where she could escape the suffocating control of Mark's family and finally find peace for herself and her children. The date became a symbol of possibility, though it also filled her with quiet dread, knowing the road ahead would be fraught with confrontation and uncertainty. Still, the thought of breaking free from the toxic environment that had consumed her life gave her the strength to keep moving forward, even as tensions at home continued to escalate. It was June 9, 2000, a quiet Friday night. Kate, a young mother, was in her modest home, preparing for a family barbecue planned for the next day. She dressed her daughter, Eveline, for bed, tucking her in gently, while the warm glow of a bedside lamp illuminated the room. Kate, wearing her favorite pajamas, sat for a brief moment of calm, unaware of the storm that was about to unfold. But around 10 o'clock, something changed. Marek, his face tense, was seen scrolling through Kate's phone, frantically searching as if looking for something specific. This sparked a heated argument, during which their voices echoed throughout the house, and the atmosphere grew increasingly strained. Kate, visibly upset and unable to endure the confrontation any longer, decided to leave the house. She grabbed her daughter's hand and hurriedly took her to the neighbors, asking them to watch her for a while. Only then, clearly shaken, did she head toward the city, seeking a moment of respite from the mounting chaos in her life. Later that evening, Kate was spotted at a phone booth in town, her expression tight with tension as she spoke into the receiver. The dim streetlights cast long shadows around her, and the glass booth reflected her worried face against the dark, empty streets. She returned home later that night, collected Eveline from the neighbors, and went to bed, leaving behind an air of unease. At 7 a.m. on June 10th, the phone rang at Kate's parents' home. It was Mark, sobbing uncontrollably. He said Kasia was gone. She hadn't returned home. His panic set off alarm bells for Kate's mother, Grace, who immediately drove to their apartment, her mind racing with fear and worst-case scenarios. She gripped the steering wheel tightly, her knuckles white, as she prayed silently that this was all some kind of misunderstanding. When Grace arrived, she immediately noticed Mark's disheveled appearance. Fresh scratches marked his face and arms, their origin unspoken but unmistakable. As they searched the apartment together, unsettling signs surfaced. Kate's clothes from the previous day were tossed in the laundry, her keys and wallet were gone, yet her favorite pajamas were missing. The eerie stillness of the space only deepened the mystery, as if the house held its breath, frozen in the moments before her disappearance. Panic mounted as hours passed without any word from Kate. Desperate, the family reported her missing to the local police. But their plea for help was met with indifference. The officers brushed aside their concerns, suggesting Kate had likely gone for a walk or decided to visit a friend. Their dismissive attitude was a slap in the face to Grace, who knew her daughter well enough to know something was deeply wrong. Refusing to wait for the authorities, Kate's family took matters into their own hands, driven by desperation and love. They plastered posters with her smiling face across town, spoke to neighbors and shopkeepers, and organized searches through woods and abandoned buildings, calling her name into the dark. When these efforts led nowhere, They hired private detectives to investigate every lead and rumor, hoping for a breakthrough. Days turned into weeks, and despite their tireless efforts, Kate's absence remained a haunting void, with no clues and no answers to ease their growing despair. Then a disturbing discovery was made. A pair of white denim shorts belonging to Merrick, Grace found in the laundry, were stained with what appeared to be. Grace handed them over to the police, but they were left in a plastic bag on the floor for weeks, ignored and untested. When the results finally came in, they confirmed what Grace had feared. The stains on the shorts were human, matched Kate's. This damning evidence seemed like the breakthrough the family had been desperately waiting for, a step closer to uncovering the truth. Yet, to their disbelief, the case stalled once again. Mark was brought in for questioning, but he vehemently dismissed the findings, accusing Grace of tampering with the shorts to frame him. His defiance, paired with the lack of follow-up from authorities, deepened the family's frustration and despair, leaving them to wonder if justice would ever be served. Months after Kate's disappearance, anonymous tips and witnesses surfaced, revealing chilling details. Several claimed to have seen two unidentified men carrying a heavy, suspicious package into a car late at night. Rumors spread quickly, with some suggesting Kate's body had been taken to the family's meat processing plant, a facility controlled by Mark's father. The whispers grew darker with each passing day, painting the plant as the site of a horrifying cover-up. Months later, anonymous tips and new witnesses brought disturbing new details to light. Among them was a man in his early 30s who recounted an eerie sight he had witnessed from his window: a tall, blackened chimney at the edge of the abandoned meat processing plant. From its top, a faint plume of gray smoke rose, curling upward into the overcast sky on a night when the facility should have been silent. This revelation added a chilling layer to the whispers surrounding the plant, fueling fears of a horrifying cover-up. The most shocking claim came in an anonymous letter, alleging that Kate's remains had been destroyed in an industrial meat grinder. Investigators launched a search of the facility, but it was 2 years too late. The plant had been cleaned and renovated, leaving no trace behind. Despite the chilling accusations, the lack of evidence kept the truth shrouded in mystery, leaving Kate's family haunted by unanswered questions and horrifying possibilities. In 2010, a decade after Kate's disappearance, Mark was finally arrested, but not for anything directly related to her case. Instead, he was taken into custody for drug trafficking, an operation he had been running in secret for years. During the investigation, authorities uncovered a shocking revelation. Mark, in a moment of unguarded bravado, had attempted to hire a hitman to kill his in-laws. The conversation, recorded by undercover officers, captured Mark explicitly detailing the plan and offering payment for the crime. This damning evidence not only exposed his criminal activities but also cast a dark shadow over his potential involvement in Kate's disappearance. When the case finally went to trial, many hoped this would lead to a breakthrough in Kate's case, bringing long-awaited justice. However, to the devastation of her family, Mark was acquitted of all charges related to her disappearance. The court cited a lack of concrete evidence and conflicting testimonies, which undermined the prosecution's case. The bloodstains on his shorts, the eyewitness accounts, and the anonymous tips were deemed inconclusive. Instead, Mark was convicted solely for his role in drug trafficking. Even this conviction resulted in a minimal sentence, leaving him to walk free. For Kate's family, the trial was yet another crushing blow. The evidence that had seemed so compelling in their eyes had failed to hold up under scrutiny, and Mark's involvement in her disappearance remained unresolved. The knowledge that he had plotted to harm them further deepened their pain, leaving them trapped in a cycle of unanswered questions and an ever-elusive sense of justice.